Today we're going to learn how to use the distributive property to produce equivalent expressions. The first expression we're going to look at is 4 times x plus 2. The operation that is going on here is multiplication. This means 4 times x plus 2. It also can be stated 4 times the sum of x and 2. So we are going to distribute, which is what you do when you use the distributive property. We're going to distribute the 4 to the x and to the 2. And I highly recommend to use these marks because it will keep you from making this very common mistake. When people do this problem, they forget to multiply the 4 times the 2. The correct answer here is 4 times x is 4x and 4 times 2 is 8. So the equivalent expression here is 4x plus 8. A very common mistake here is for people to leave out the 4 times 2 and put the 2 here. They just forget to multiply it. Very common mistake. So if you will use these marks here at the top, it can keep you from doing that. We're going to move on to a little bit more difficult example at this point. We're going to do 3 times x minus 2 plus 4 times x plus 2 plus 10. So I'm going to go ahead. I see that I have parentheses here with a number outside, so that lets me know distributive property. So I'm going to go ahead and make my mark so I won't forget there. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8 plus the 10 at the end. Now I'm going to combine like terms at this point. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to make this a 5. So we won't have to deal with, well, it won't matter. Let's leave the 3. Yeah. So we're going to combine our x's. Remember, you can only combine terms that have the same variable. Both of these have an x, so I can combine them. Positive 3 plus a positive 4 gives me a positive 7. Okay. Then I have some constants. I've got 6, and remember this sign goes with the 6. That's like a negative 6 because that's like adding a negative, okay? Adding the opposite. So that sign goes with the 6. And then you have 8 and 10. So to combine these, I'm doing negative 6 plus 8 plus 10. So negative 6 plus a positive 8. My signs are different, so I'm going to subtract and use the sign of the larger one, which will give me a 2. And 2 plus 10 gives me 12. So 7x plus 12 is my answer here. We'll move on to another example. If you're given the expression 12x plus 60 and you want to determine other expressions that are equivalent to this, you can use the distributive property to see which ones are equivalent. So let's take this first example, 12 times x plus 5. Okay, we can use the distributive property here to multiply and see this gives me 12x plus 12 times 5, which is 60. So 12x plus 60. This would be equivalent to this. Let's look at another one. 6 times 2x plus 10. Again, using distributive property, that gives me 12x. That gives me 60. So I know that this is also equivalent, which also makes these two equivalent. Okay, we'll look at a couple more. 4 times 3x plus 15. If I distribute that 4, that gives me 12x plus 60. So this is equivalent to 12x plus 60, which also makes it equivalent to these. And then we'll do one more. If you distribute here, you get 12x and 60. So this is also equivalent. So all of these are equivalent expressions, and this is how you use the distributive property to determine if expressions are equivalent and to also produce equivalent equations or expressions.